3 simple things Jason Kelce did to drop 20+ pounds since retirement.
Got a DEXA scan for the first time.
Ah, very fat, I see.
It is a lot of fat.
In today's video, I'm going to talk about what he's done since retirement. He's working on trying to lose some body fat, but he's still trying to make sure he maintains his strength.
I'd rather see you doing 12, 15 reps an exercise
Band
and doing
workouts.
it as strict as possible and to do many, many reps and many sets and to do it the right way and to gain the muscle size rather than to just torture yourself and to have injuries and all that. That time should be over for you.
Work smarter than harder, man.
Yeah.
Strength, and while he's retired, he's focusing on rebuilding his health.
I've played my whole career at 295. I'm trying to get down to 250, 260. My goal is 2 pounds every week.
If you hang around to the end of the video, I'm going to go over some things that Jason does that are the same exact things that I use for my clients to help them lose 20, 40, 60 plus pounds. When you look at offensive linemen, it's easy to think, hey, they're just genetically big, right? They're massive football players and massive human beings. Maybe they're just always meant to be, be that big. Jason and other football players, especially offensive linemen, are aware of how being that big for that long has a negative effect on your health. We all know being an offensive lineman isn't quite a longevity hack. But Jason, as well as plenty of other former offensive linemen have shown, it's not your genetics, guys.
They ask all the time, like, how you guys eat? I say, like rabbits. He said, what do you mean? I said, what's the difference? I said, well, back when I was playing, we ate like pigs.
How much you lost?
We lost 70 pounds, so now I weigh about 228 pounds.
A lot of these guys lose 70 to 100 pounds within a year. In other times, 2 years, they drop all of that weight. So this goes to show they look completely different. It's not Ozempic. It's not because they're not juicing anymore. It's mainly because they are focusing on their nutrition. Offensive linemen are also smart enough to know that during the NFL season, they stuff themselves like hogs, right? They have to eat high amounts of calories to be able to play and keep on that mass and size. They're also smart enough to know, too, the opposite, right? If you have to eat more calories to bulk up to play football, you probably need to learn how to eat less to lose weight and get healthy. The same goes for Jason Kelce. He is learning how to eat less food without crash dieting and lose weight at a healthy rate. So that prevents binge eating later. He's also focusing on keeping his strength while losing fat, which is extremely important and often overlooked. It's not a meathead thing. It won't make you big and bulky. It's one of the single best long-term fat loss things you can do is lift weights. Just as I talked about how important lifting weights is for your weight loss journey, it's also a much, much bigger important piece is learning how to lift smart and not trying to max out like a meathead like you did in high school or college, because we want to be able to do this long term and not just a 90-day program or 6 months, whatever. Something else that also gets overlooked big time is as you lift weights and you age, you start to get more aches and pains and joint pain. That's something that Jason is also focusing on. And he even admits, man, he still has a couple of cheat meals here and there. And that's the same thing I recommend for my clients and I do for myself. To make this sustainable and do this long term, having 1 to 2 cheat meals isn't going to kill your diet. It's actually been shown in studies that it's going to prolong it. A lot of guys that I've coached in the past have an all or nothing mindset. You want to try to get away from that. Real quick, I built FitBaller just for football fans. It's one of the coolest things out there. It's going to help you lose weight. Everybody knows, and you probably have lost weight as well and put it back on, but everybody knows a big part of weight loss is accountability and learning healthy habits, right? Anybody can crash diet and get a bunch of weight off of them, but keeping it off long term is the biggest issue. I built FitBaller to help you with that. Make it fun. Earn money, compete on a team against other teams, and have some camaraderie. If you want to join, click the FitBaller link below, and I'll see you soon. Now that we've talked about some things Jason has done and went over his talk with Arnold about what his game plan should be, we'll talk about things you can use and things that I use for my clients. I help them out to help you start losing weight now and start feeling better. Tip number 1 is track your calories. Do not guess. Download my FitnessPal app. Get a good idea of how many calories you're eating for the week. Even if you don't want to track calories forever, you don't have to. I don't recommend tracking forever. But just like Jason is doing, Jason's also doing it in a smart way. Just like I said, drop it 500, no more than 750 calories to put you in a calorie deficit on your MyFitnessPal app. This helps you sustainably lose 1 to 3 pounds a week, which is what you want to do. If you're losing too much weight too fast, you're going to lose a ton of muscle mass and you're going to get that skinny, fat look that you don't want. So this also helps keep it sustainable, right? If you're always starving all the time, it's going to be really hard, next to impossible to keep the weight off long term. And you're going to eventually start having those rebound binges. You know what I'm talking about. Tip number 2 is train smart, not hard. Jason's still lifting moderately heavy weights, but he's definitely not trying to put up any personal records anymore. When you're cutting weight and losing fat, the biggest goal isn't to see how much weight you can lift, bro. It's to retain muscle mass as you cut the fat. This will help keep your strength while you're cutting the weight. And remember, lifting weights is way better than cardio long-term for fat loss. Helps you retain strength as you age, boost your metabolism, and it will also, like I said, help you retain lean muscle mass as you start to lose weight. If you haven't been lifting weights in a while, do not go do CrossFit or anything crazy or jump to barbell workouts. Instead, guys, focus on doing machine weights, full body workouts 2 to 3 times a week. 3 by 12, 3 sets by 12 reps. This will allow your body to get used to being under some tension and help you build strength without injuring yourself in the beginning. Tip number 3, one of the most overlooked things is mobility. And Jason has definitely focused on this, especially probably from all the battles that he's had playing in the NFL and injuries. Yoga is very helpful. He does this 2 to 3 times a week. You don't have to be a yogi, but there are things you can do in mobility stretches to help you not walk like a robot and prevent any kind of old injuries from flaring up, as well as preventing any kind of new ones. As we get older, we get a little more stiff, rigid, ligaments get tighter, and if you're not stretching, if you're not very flexible, you have a very high chance of injuring yourself during this weight loss phase. So there are some basic mobility movement stretches and things you can do. Stretching and mobility are 2 different things. So you want to make sure you stretch as well as do a couple mobility exercises. There are 100 of them. Just find something you can realistically fit into your schedule and your pain points, right? For me, my hips get very tight when I lift weights. Do a lot of mobility work with that. Otherwise, you don't have a ton of injuries. And it's happened before. Just be conscious on just staying flexible while you're lifting weights and you're in this weight loss phase. Having good mobility just essentially means you're going to move around and walk and get through life easier without any kind of injuries or aches and pains. So quick summary, if you want to lose weight like Jason's doing it, he's doing it the smart way, download MyFitnessPal app for free and just track your calories, man. See what you're eating for 7 days. And then most people eat the same foods most of the time. So just cut back a little bit on what you're currently eating or just track for a while just to give a good idea to teach you how many calories you're truly taking in. Calories and protein are the most important thing. So for those first 7 days, track, and you're probably going to be around the same weight. What you want to do from there is subtract 500 calories to 750 calories. Give you a good range of where you should be for your total daily intake. Next is do not forget strength training as part of your weight loss, right? We immediately think, oh, weight loss, we got to go do some cardio, right? We got to do a bunch of cardio. Cardio does help. It definitely works. Cardio works the fastest in the short term, but as we age, strength training becomes very important. You want to make sure you're not a meathead, but you want to make sure you're having lean muscle mass as you age because it's going to boost your metabolism. It allows you to eat more food without gaining weight. And as you get older, you lose strength, right? So you don't want to be a weak old. It helps prevent you from being a weak old guy. Number 3 is do not forget your stretching and mobility, guys, especially as we age. Like I said, make sure you stretch your whole body, but find a couple of weak spots in your body where you feel tightest or you tend to have the most injuries, work with a trainer or a physical therapist, or even go on the old Google machine and type in mobility exercises for my hips, something like that, or YouTube, and those things will help give you a good idea of where to start. As always, if you want more football and fitness related content, subscribe.